Welcome to Yeukai Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host.
Hello everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Trevor Stockwell, and today my guest is Stavros Mastrogiannis, who's a permanent weight loss specialist and author of several books, his most recent being Fat No More. Sounds good title, I like that. He's been in the weight loss field for nearly 30 years and helps people that are busy, business owners and others, both get in shape and stay in shape by using the Live Your Way Thin system, which he's developed. Sounds intriguing, I know. I'm looking forward to this conversation as well. So here to tell us more, thanks for joining us. Welcome, Stavros.
Thank you for having me. Trevor, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Yeah, always keen to learn more about how to maximize your health with a simple approach. I know one of the key benefits that you offer your clients and people over the many years you've been involved is you make it easy or simple for them to adopt a healthy lifestyle. There's effort involved, as with anything that's good, there's effort involved, but not necessarily to the degree that some people would perceive that, and we'll sort of unpack that as we go. I think maybe just to start us off, share a little bit about your journey that maybe brought you into this kind of fitness realm first off.
You said it perfectly that, simple, because when I tried to get in shape myself, in my late teens, I wanted to look good for the beach, for the girls, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And I tried to start exercising so I can get a better body, and build some muscle. Fitness was too complicated. And the other problem that I had was I couldn't stick with the advice I was getting. And I kept getting all this advice, and the theme was always the same, that, once you see results, you'll be motivated to keep going. Well, it didn't happen. I would get the results and then I will burn out. And then the whole thing started over and over again. And I realized that fitness professionals don't understand people like myself who wants to be in shape, but hates the process of getting in shape. And I realized like most people are on the same boat as me, that they want to be in shape, but I don't live to exercise and I don't live to be watching my diet. I watch my diet and I want to be in shape so I can live. But if all those things take up all my life, I have no life, what's the point?
Yeah.
And it was very discouraging initially. And I realized that, something, maybe there is a need for a fitness professional who understands the average person who wants to be in shape, but don't want to sacrifice all the free time getting in shape or maintaining the shape. And that's how I slowly got into it, because I also have a degree in culinary arts. I graduated actually from the Culinary Institute of America, which is considered one of the best schools in the world for cooking. So I love cooking too. And that was the other problem too. If you look at most of the diets, the stuff that they're asking you to eat, who wants to live like that? And they took all the fun away, like the butter, that fat. Or anything that tastes good, they remove it. So to me, it's like you're eating this blah. To me, something, I'd rather be overweight and enjoying my food and being thin and be miserable because I can't eat anything that's good. And that was part of the thing too that helped me drive myself into switching careers. And I did that back in 1992 is when I made the switch and I got into the fitness industry. And the one thing that really helped me a lot, it wasn't my schooling actually, because all my certifications, I went back to school, to get certified as a personal trainer, weight management consultant, was my upbringing, because I was raised in Greece. And what I realized, a lot of things I learned in school about proper nutrition and how to lose weight and be in shape contradicted my upbringing. The problem was that when I lived in Greece, thin was the norm. Cancer was a rare disease. Nobody had Alzheimer's, dementia, all those brain diseases. But yet we were doing things that completely contradicted what I learned in school. For example, breakfast. Here I was taught breakfast, the most important meal of the day. And actually I remember because my mother was the one that pointed that out. And she says to me, he goes, how come you're teaching your clients that breakfast is the most important meal of the day? He goes, did you eat breakfast when we lived in Greece? I go, no. Did you see adults eating breakfast? No, it was something you ate on the weekends, but during the week, it wasn't normal to eat breakfast. You just had your coffee and you went to work. And that made me start thinking, it's like, wait a minute, she's right, because in Greece we're much healthier than here.
Yeah.
And that's what drove me to start questioning a lot of things that I learned in school. And then I started looking at other things that we did in Greece differently. And then I started looking at other healthy regions, and come to find out the way I was raised in Greece is very similar to the way other healthy regions lived and ate, which contradicts what I was learning in school. And that's, by the way, how it came up with the I call them 5 ancient habits that all healthy regions around the world have in common. And by the way, even in the Western world, we had a lot of those habits, but unfortunately, due to modern lifestyle and marketing, we've changed.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to do is bring back to my Louis Way Thin system those 5 habits to start with. Those I consider those as the fundamentals, like the base, the foundation of a building. If you can build those 5 habits, then you can really, never mind those 5 habits going to help you get in shape, but you build a foundation where you can really build a lean and healthy body on top of it, which would be very solid, which you'll be able to maintain. That's the bottom line. It's not just get in shape, but stay in shape.
Yeah. No, that's key. And developing them as habits is part of the success, isn't it? Because then it becomes, most habits we just do without thinking about it, don't we? We thought about it to start with, to implement it, get to the point where we then switch off from doing that. We can think about something else while we're doing
exactly
that stuff. So I know what you mean. I'm a leadership coach, so I understand the benefits of programming and reprogramming the subconscious mind to get habits so that they run on autopilot, so that they serve us. So that's a really key point.
And actually, how I came up to the realization about habits is that I was looking at here. If you look at in the United States, only 95%, only 5% of the people who lose weight and get in shape are able to maintain the shape. 95% regain the weight back.
That's crazy.
And I was looking at all the methods of getting in shape, and all of them require a lot of effort, a lot of mental and physical effort, because you constantly have to think about your diet, about your carbs, depends on which diet you're doing. And I was thinking, wait a minute, in Greece, we never thought about, actually, I didn't even know what a calorie was. There were no gyms. People never thought about their diet, and yet we're all in great shape. Why? Because all the things that kept us in shape were habitual behaviors. And to me, that is the key. It was like our fitness program was an autopilot. Wouldn't it be nice to put your fitness program on autopilot?
Absolutely, yeah.
Where here, the methods that we use to help people get in shape, it's not automatic. We have to consciously have to take those actions, whether it's counting calories, counting points, which takes away from enjoying your life. Think about it. Because let's say I get a nice meal, but if I have to spend half of the time thinking about how many calories is in the meal or how many carbs, well, guess what? You're not enjoying your meal as much as if you just simply enjoyed the meal.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized that we really don't have a weight problem. What we have is a habit problem. You change your habits, you take care of everything else. Absolutely. And the most important thing is you don't have to mentally use more. You don't have to use any motivation to stick with it, because it's a habit.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really good. So it's the habit issue, not the food issue. Exactly. The eating side of it. Yeah, that's key. That's important for people to listen and really grab hold of that, because that will change. If you put it into practice and make some changes accordingly, that will really change your approach to healthy eating, staying in shape, and other areas as well. It really is behavior, which is so key. So that's really good. So let's dig into those. You mentioned 5 habits. It'd be really good to at least touch on all 5 if we can in our time together. What's the first one?
The first one is the exercise habit. Now, there's a big but here, though. You see, if I go to a personal trainer or a coach, and I say, I want to get in shape and I don't exercise, what the most coaches do, which again, they mean well, is that they will develop an exercise routine right for your fitness goals. Okay. And on the surface, this sounds perfect. Yes, that's you want to do a workout that reflects what you want to do, what you want to accomplish. The problem, though, then that's a mistake. You see, the first goal of an exercise program should not be results. The first goal of an exercise program should be to develop the habit of exercising. And I say that because what's the best way to develop a habit? Repetition, right? You repeat something long enough, eventually it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
How do you ensure that you can repeat something long enough to make it a habit? Well, make the action really easy to repeat. Now, so that's why but if though you start an exercise program with a goal in mind, in order to reach a certain goal, you got to do a lot of things. But because it's so overwhelming, what is the chance of you sticking with that really complicated routine long enough to make it a habit? Slim to none. For 95% of the people, it doesn't happen. So what we do is when we work on the first habit is break down the exercise program to the smallest step possible. So for instance, let's say I want to get you don't walk regularly, I want to get you to walk. Typical advice, 20 to 30 minutes of cardio, 3 to 4 times a week. My advice, 1 to 5 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week. And of course, when I tell people only 1 to 5 minutes, they look at me like, what the heck would 5 minutes of cardio of walking will do? Well, actually, as far as your goals are concerned, nothing. Well, might make small difference. But what it will do is get you out there walking regularly, because you cannot talk yourself out of it. Because you only have to do 5 minutes and you get home tired from work. And I'm sure most of your listeners are people who, have a lot on their plate. Yeah. You get home, you're tired, but you only have to do 5 minutes. Isn't it much easier to get on the treadmill or walk outside for 5 minutes than doing 20, 30 minutes? But then if you keep doing this after work every single time you come home, it becomes a habitual behavior. Once that happens, that's when you start pushing to do a little longer. So maybe the 5 minutes, you can make them 10 minutes, and then maybe 50 minutes or 20 minutes. Or another way you can do this is, like, let's say you work in an office and you work at the 5th floor. Obviously, walking all 5 flight of stairs first time, it would be hard. So what do? From now on, when you go to work, walk up the first flight of stairs and then take the elevator the rest of the way up. Do that for a month or two. And then once you get used to it, maybe do 2 flights of stairs and then take the elevator all the way up. Before you know it, you'll be going up and down the stairs, no problem at all, because you gave your body a chance to adapt. Yeah. Then you can add weight training, same thing. I look at my program. My exercise routine has 9 exercises, but did you know only 3 are the must-dos? By having that attitude, the days I'm busy or I'm not motivated to work out, by only having to do 3, and it only takes like 5-6 minutes to do them, I'm more likely to do it than if I said to myself, I must do all 9 exercises that takes over 30 minutes to do. And it's the same thing. So maybe start doing some push-ups. Do that for a couple of weeks. Once you get used to it, maybe add some squats. Don't worry about this structured routine that everybody wants to have. You want to slowly build into it. And then after a couple of months, let's say you're really getting into it, then really focus on creating a routine that more resembles, it's closer to what you want to achieve. Because at that time, you've developed a habit of exercising. Now I don't worry about you burning out because the workout's too intense. And that's like the first habit is start small, build up, make it part of your routine. And then before you know it, it becomes part of your day. You don't even think about it. You go home, you get on the treadmill right away without having to say to yourself, oh, I got to get on the treadmill. And that's how you make it a routine.
Yeah, that's really good. Lots of different ways, as you're saying that, I'm thinking of different experiences and things I've had before. It's like when we start to do things like exercise the body one way or another that isn't too intense, the body rewards us as well, doesn't it? It's like, yes, that's good. This is what I like. This is what I need. Yeah. And therefore you've done 1 or 2 exercises and you actually think, I think I'll do a bit more. This is good. Yeah. I like this. But it's really taking that first step, isn't it? And I like what you say, because it's like, if it's not too monumentous to start with, once you've taken that step, the next step is a whole lot easier to then just keep going and keep going. And it's all, I guess, it's finding a way of exercising in a way that clicks with who you are and what you like, isn't it? Exactly. I remember chatting to a friend he used to go to the gym regularly. He said, I don't like it. I don't like going. I'm glad when I leave, but it's a way of staying in shape. And I thought, there's got to be a different approach to it than that, surely. If we actually enjoy whatever the activity is, we're more likely to do it again, aren't we?
Exactly. In fact, when people ask me, which is the best workout, and I said, the best workout is the one you will do and do consistently. It doesn't matter, because the difference between different type of workouts, is there some difference? Of course there is. But at the end of the day, if you don't do it, doesn't matter how good the workout is. You're not going to do it. And my other advice is that you always finish the workout at a point that you still want to do more. Because if you leave your workout thinking, I could have done more, well, guess what? You look forward to the next workout. Instead of being so intense that you say, thank God this is over. Because then it's only a matter of time before you talk yourself out of it, because you're not enjoying the process. And by the way, that's why I call my company Live Your Way Thin. You got to live your way thin. You can't take a break from your life, get in shape, and then expect to get back into your life and stay in shape. I don't know if you're familiar. Are you familiar with it was an American show called The Biggest Loser? No. Have you heard of it?
No.
It's a show. This really overweight people will go on this show for, I think, 4 or 6 months. It's a crazy workout, crazy diets. They lost tons of weight. I mean, 100, 200 pounds. But do you know, basically, I read an article a few years ago, every single one of them gains the weight back, because you cannot stop living, lose the weight, get in shape, and then get back into living. No, you got to live your way into shape.
Yeah.
And the best way to do that is by small, tiny changes in your life over time, so your body has a chance to adapt. Yeah,
that's good advice. That definitely. This is really good. So number 2, what's the second habit that we need?
Number 2, it's something similar to intermittent fasting, but I was teaching it. I call it the 16-hour habit. I was teaching it before intermittent fasting was a thing. And the reason I discovered it was, again, my upbringing. In Greece, we only ate lunch and dinner. One meal was bigger than the other. It usually was like one main meal, and dinner was more like a snack. No breakfast. So naturally, we went for 16 hours or longer without eating anything. As a matter of fact, a lot of times, adults skip dinner completely. So they only had one meal. And when I started doing research on the subject, I realized that taking regular breaks from food is extremely beneficial to your health. I can't remember the guy's name. He's a doctor, a Japanese doctor. In 2016, he won a Nobel Prize in, I think, medicine. He discovered the process of what happens during the process of autophagy. Autophagy, it's a Greek word, by the way. It means eating yourself. So what happens when you take long breaks from food, the body goes into autophagy. Autophagy basically recycles old protein. That's one of the main benefits. So it recycles, not your muscles, because a lot of people, I was taught in school that if you skip a meal or if you go for too long without eating, you're gonna lose your muscles. Come to find out, that's not true. Your body will recycle misfolded proteins. Misfolded proteins is a precursor to basically all the mental diseases, like dementia, Alzheimer's. It recycles mutated and dysfunctional cells. That's the precursor to pretty much most cancers. So by recycling them and not allowing them to build up, you prevent those diseases. Other benefits of going for prolonged periods without food is it makes your body more efficient at burning fat. Isn't that what we want? And you know what's funny? In school, they taught us the exact opposite. That, if you go for too long without eating, your body's going to hold on to the fat and burn all your muscles and everything else. And the reason, again, I questioned it because I said, wait a minute. In Greece, we only ate once or twice a day, and we didn't have that problem. How come all of a sudden they're telling? And when I researched, I come to find out that wasn't correct. So another one is that it makes your body more sensitive to insulin. That prevents diabetes. Isn't that great? And the other one is makes you more sensitive to leptin. Leptin is a hormone that basically tells your brain when you're full. Well, when your body's not sensitive to it, because unfortunately we're eating all the time, you never get the message that you're full. And that's when you tend to overeat. So by learning to take long breaks from food, plus I forgot the major one is detoxification. It gets rid of the toxins that accumulate in the body through the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, the food that we eat. There's always bad stuff that comes with it. If you take regular breaks from food, it gets rid of the stuff. So it prevents you or greatly lowers your chance from disease. And it's funny that I never learned anything about that in school. I had to learn that on my own and doing my own research. But the studies are overwhelming. I mean, I bet the house on it. That's how certain I am about this habit.
Yeah.
But then it gets me to the next question, because intermittent fasting has become popular. But unfortunately, again, a lot of people can stick with it. Have you heard the saying, knowledge is power? Right?
I have, yeah.
Well, knowledge actually is not power. It's applied knowledge is power. It's not what you know that makes a difference. What you do with what you know that makes a difference.
Yeah.
And the same thing in business. I think you can have all the best information about to grow your business. Unless you apply that information,
yeah,
it's not gonna make any difference.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with fitness. It's all these habits that can make any difference unless you apply them.
Yeah.
So, and to me, the 16-hour habit, the best way applied is to do it slowly. So let's say you eat breakfast. I don't expect you're going to stop skipping breakfast and go right to lunch. You can stop pushing your breakfast slightly later, maybe an hour, and do that for a while. Get used to it. And then push it another hour. And you'll find that your energy is going to start going up. You're going to find that it's going to become easier and easier. Oh, and the best of all, if you skip breakfast, you no longer have to eat breakfast. How much time does it save you in the morning? For people who eat breakfast,
yeah,
it saves you time. So since time is a problem, hey, skipping breakfast, it adds an extra 20 minutes to your day that you could go to work earlier if you like to, or sleep in a little later, or do some cardio in the morning if you're telling me that you don't have time for cardio, you know?
Yeah. So is the 16-hour break, ideally we want to get to the point where that's every day, or is it just
Monday to Friday? I'm glad you asked the question. Monday. I also believe that I don't believe in perfection. So all these rules are Monday through Friday. Weekends, relax. Like on Sundays, a lot of times I have breakfast with my kids. Am I hungry? No. But it's a tradition. So I do like my pancakes, my French toast, and I do eat my fair share of junk food. But because I believe if 80% of the time you do the right thing, your body will forgive you for the 20% of the time. And you don't drive yourself crazy either, because to me, perfection is a great way to burn yourself out.
Yeah. No, that's really good. So even if people that are listening and thinking, right, this 16-hour thing, I want to try and introduce it. I've heard it several times, different places. If you could potentially have your last meal in the evening and then go 16 hours and then have a late breakfast. That's what you're saying to start with, aren't you? So mentally, if you're thinking, I still need 3 meals a day until you get to the point where you change that sort of approach, you could still fit 3 meals in if you feel you have to get.
Yeah, you could.
And
yeah,
then
because you
still
let's
get
say
the 16-hour break.
you had your dinner at 6 o'clock at night. You could have a late breakfast at 10. That's your 16 hours right there.
Yeah. So but, Monday to Friday. I like that as well. Like Monday to Friday, it's like, it's not so bad. It's not every day. I could do that. Yeah. No, that's really good. Okay.
And by the way, the weekend starts on Friday after 5 p.m. I always say Friday, because I used to be Saturdays and Sundays, but a lot of people, Friday nights you go out. I'm like, let's make Friday part of the weekend. And honestly, it made no difference on my clients' results. No problem at all. It relaxed their mind, because there's something to be said when you could do something and you don't want to anymore. Because again, I always tell people it's in human nature to want what we can have. And that's why you don't want to be too strict either, because that backfires.
Yeah.
Let it happen naturally. Like even on Saturdays, a lot of times I eat only once or twice on Saturday night. Saturday, I almost always go for 16 hours. Not because I have to. It's a habit now. It's like that doesn't, it's part of life. I don't have to think about it.
Yeah. So do you, if you don't have breakfast and stuff, but you, like you said, when you're growing up in Greece, you used to have coffee first thing and then go through till lunch. Because I've heard like coffee on an empty stomach's not the best thing. What's your sort of perspective and experience on that?
Even now I do coffee in the morning. It doesn't bother me. I have one coffee in the morning, and I never have an issue at all with that, because I think there's other secondary problems with digestion, which, by the way, one of the biggest problems with digestion has to do with the fact that we eat at a time that we cannot relax afterwards. Think about this. In Greece, here, again, in school, I learned that you cannot go to sleep after eating. You gotta digest the food. You want to eat during the day. It's like, wait a minute, in Greece, we used to have a big lunch and then we used to take a 2-hour nap right after our meal.
Mm.
In the villages, we ate a big dinner, then went to sleep after. How come there's no problem? And man, I don't know if you have any dogs or cats. What do dogs and cats do after eating? They nap. Well, come to find out,
True.
relaxing after a meal, even sleeping, is the best thing for digestion. The worst thing you can do when you eat a big meal is to become active because you compromise digestion. Because digestion requires a lot of energy.
Yeah.
If you mentally or physically active, the body only can make so much energy. So something has to give. And it's usually digestion that gives. That's why a lot of times people, a lot of the problem with indigestion has to do with the fact that you are eating at a time that you cannot relax after the meal. So to me, breakfast, even from that point of view, makes no sense, because do you eat breakfast and then you relax for an hour or two before you go to work? Other you eat the breakfast while driving to work.
Yeah.
And that's part of the issue. So that coffee thing in the morning, if you have a normal digestive system and with no health issues, it should not be an issue. Obviously, there are people that do have it. You know, I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah.
But for the average person, there's no problem at all. And a lot of my clients have done it that don't have an issue.
Okay. And just last thing on the 16 hours for now, I find that fascinating. So is that without any liquids at all, or do you have sort of like water during those 16 hours, or what's
water, it's fine. Salsa water, tea and coffee, by the way, as long as it doesn't have any sugar or tons of milk. Like if you have like a cappuccino, you know, that's fine. Lattes, it's too much milk, then you add too many calories to it. So if you have something like a tea with no sugar or honey or anything like that, that's fine too. So yes, there are certain things that you can have during that time, or lemon with water, something like that is fine.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, and for everyone listening, as Stavros has mentioned, don't just drastically stop eating food. Do it gradually. Check with a nutritionist or your GP or whatever in a way that works for you in a responsible way. The principles that Stavros is sharing is absolutely spot on, because he's tried and tested it, he studied it, he knows it all works. But how you adopt that and start it integrating into your life, you need to work on that and find what works for you. But definitely take this information and use it well. This is really good. We might not get to all 5, but what's number 3?
Number 3, it's the habit of eating only when hungry and no more than twice per day. Again, Monday through Friday. And again, I adapted that because when I started looking, I know in school I was learning you got to eat 3, 4, 5 times a day, small meals. And honestly, in the first 5, 6 years in my career, I used to teach the same stuff. Because that's what I learned in school. But again, I started reflecting on my upbringing and looking at other healthy regions, and I realized, wait a minute, there's not even one healthy region that eats that way. If you look at them, they eat on average once or twice a day. And they're much healthier than us. So, and that's when I started questioning this idea of eating more often. And so basically, the reason I came up with that habit is hunger. Like in Greece, it was drilled into our heads. Do not ruin your appetite before a meal. To the point that when we went to school, a lot of times, like I said, I didn't eat breakfast. My mother gave us money that we can buy a snack. The schools, by the way, do not have lunch breaks. But you had like a 10-minute break between every class that there was snacks sold in the school. So if you want, you could go get it. Yeah. If it was past 12 o'clock in the afternoon and I hadn't had my snack yet, even if I was hungry, I wouldn't dare buy anything because I knew at 1:30, 2 o'clock, I had to be home to eat lunch. And as a kid, I knew not to ruin my appetite, even if I was hungry. Because at the end of the day, even if they say I was truly hungry, what's a big deal if you stay hungry for an hour or two?
Yeah. It's
not the end of the world. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, unfortunately, were taught that being hungry is something bad. And to me, no. Hunger, if you change the way you look at hunger, all of a sudden you're not mind it. Like true hunger, look at it, an opportunity to utilize the stored energy that I have, like the excess fat that we have. All it is stored energy. Well, when you're hungry and you have to wait for an hour or two before you eat, look at it, the benefit of it. Now, don't focus on, oh, I'm feeling uncomfortable. Focus on, Like, oh, I'm actually giving my body an opportunity to do that. I'm giving my body an opportunity to get rid of the toxins in my system. I give my body an opportunity to get rid of the mutated cells, the dysfunctional cells, the misfolded proteins, and help me lower my chance of developing all these diseases. So you see, all of a sudden, hunger, it's a good thing. Yeah. And the next question I get asked about that, by the way, is, well, how can you tell the difference between hunger and cravings? Because most people are mistaking cravings for hunger. Here's how. Yeah. If you think you're hungry, ask yourself, would I be able to indulge on a piece of stale bread? If the answer is no, I want something else, you're not hungry then. True hunger, you're not that picky. I know with my kids, I got 2 kids. They get home, oh, damn, I'm hungry. Oh, this is what we have for dinner. Oh, I don't want that. You're not hungry then. Because I remember myself when I came from school home and I was hungry, I never cared what my mother cooked. Yes, I had my favorite foods, obviously, but it was never, oh, I'm not going to eat this. I'm not, well, obviously you're not that hungry then. And that we need to find our true hunger again. Because at the end of the day, think about this. What is the true purpose of eating? To nourish the body. I don't think anybody can argue against that. How does the body tell you it needs nourishment? Through hunger. Well, what was the last time before you ate, you stopped and asked yourself, am I truly hungry? Or am I eating because it's breakfast time, lunchtime, or dinner time? Or somebody offered me food? And to me, is that what we need to start really paying attention to our hunger, and you will find naturally you'll be eating less often. As a matter of fact, actually, you know how I say don't eat more than twice, lunch and dinner? Personally, Monday to Friday, I only eat once. And dinner only. And I didn't set out to do that, but I found that I wasn't hungry. So why am I eating? And that's how I started making my lunches very, very light. And I got to a point that I asked the question, why am I eating lunch? Just because somebody told me I have to? And I said, let's see what happens if I skip it. I will never go back. I feel like $1 million. I have energy to spare. And when I get home at night, I'm not starving either, by the way.
Yeah.
Because the human body is more like a battery. You eat at night or at a time that you can digest the food afterwards, by the way, because I'm not saying which time is the best time to eat, is the time that, number one, you're hungry and you have time afterwards to relax and digest the food.
That's good.
Greece, the culture was different. We had a 3-hour lunch break. I don't know in the UK if you guys get 3-hour lunch breaks. I know in the United States we don't.
No. We have a sun issue over here as well, so we don't. Yeah. We can work straight after lunch from that perspective.
Exactly. So then I would say light lunch and have a main dinner. So you eat your dinner, you can relax afterwards. You don't have to sleep, but you can relax. You digest the food. The body takes the energy you just took in, replenishes the energy you used up, and then you get up in the morning the next day. Your batteries are charged. You don't need to be eating anything in the morning for energy. And like I said, I have energy to go through the whole day. And once in a while, I'll do like extended fast, which I think also it's not a bad idea every so often. And I do 2 days in a row without eating anything. And again, that's something I do regularly. I do that once in a while. Yeah. But I feel like $1 million. And again, it's not something people need to do either. Like I would say twice is fine. Like I would say half of my clients, do they eat no more than twice? Monday to Friday. Remember, on the weekends, relax. Do whatever you want. And a lot of my clients on their own choose to eat only once like I do. I never tell them eat once. Yeah. But they find they have more energy that way. Yeah. So that's the third habit.
So I suppose within that is worth just putting the caveat that if you do get down to 1 or 2 meals, you can't just binge on trash all the time and get the nutrients that your body needs. So there's your fruits and your vegetables are the kind of a primary ingredient for your main meals. Is that a good perspective then for people that aren't sort of vegan or vegetarian? Add the meat sort of element to that as well. Is that the general?
Yeah, we get to that on the 5th habit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did. That's the 5th habit that will take care of that end. But the next habit, the 4th habit, is the eat slow and mindful. Because the next question I get asked is, oh, if I let myself go really hungry, then I tend to overeat. And that is an issue with some people, absolutely. So that's when the 4th habit comes in, which is the habit of learning to eat slowly and mindfully.
Right.
if you learn to eat slowly and mindfully and stop eating when you satisfy your hunger, naturally, without even trying, you're going to eat less food. So that's why I tell people, it's like, learn to put your fork down between every bite when you're eating. Don't hold the fork with food in front of your mouth waiting, because you cannot swallow much faster than you need to. Yeah. So you want to take a bite, put your fork down, chew at least 20 times. Taste what you're eating.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, when do you get pleasure from food? Right? When the food is in your mouth. The longer I can keep each bite of food in my mouth, the more pleasure I can get from less food. And that is how every single study ever done on slow mindful eating, without telling people to eat less, people eat less every single time. There hasn't been an exception to the rule. And that's the fourth habit, is to slow you down. Eat your food, enjoy. And once you feel satisfied, stop eating. Because at the end of the day, you don't have to eat everything on your plate. Now, in the old days, when that rule of cleaning your plate came, we didn't have as much food as we do today.
Yeah.
Today, unfortunately, we eat way beyond what the body really needs. Yeah. And that's because we eat on the rush. We eat without being hungry. And, and the rush thing, when you eat really fast, you tend to put more food in your mouth than you actually need. And to me, that's like the fourth habit. And let me tell you a quick story, actually, since you brought up about the foods. Are you familiar with the documentary Super Size Me?
Yes.
I don't know if you've watched it.
I've heard it. I haven't seen it, but yeah.
Yes, it was, I think, 2000, early 2000, if I remember correctly. Anyway, so Mr. Spurlock went to McDonald's for 1 month. I got very sick from eating McDonald's every single day, gained 26 pounds. In 2011, I did the same experiment, but with one major exception. I followed those 3 habits. I ate that 16-hour habit, ate no more than twice and only when hungry, and I ate every single meal slowly and mindfully and stopped eating when I satisfied my hunger. I went to the doctor. I had my cholesterol down, my triglycerides, all that fun stuff, my blood pressure, my weight. And I did it for 2 months, by the way. For 2 months straight, I was eating mainly McDonald's. I did have some Burger King sometimes, but it was mainly and burger and fries, same foods as Mr. Spurlock. You know what happened to me after 2 months? Nothing. My cholesterol actually went down 10 points, and my weight went down 3 pounds, which is insignificant. And I want to emphasize here, I'm not saying that food is good. I'm not saying that at all. I don't want to be misunderstood here, okay? The point was that by listening to your body, by following those 3 habits, your body is more forgiving with what you're eating. Now, long-term, it could be bad, because long-term, I'm missing a lot of the micronutrients the body needs. I agree. Yeah. But the point here was that the body can better tolerate food that's not so good for you. And here is the question I always ask my clients. If I gave you a choice, would you rather eat more often by being extremely careful with everything you eat, or would you rather eat less often and eat whatever you want within reason? See, I go with the second one, because I can have my pasta every night, pasta, bread, potatoes, all the good stuff. Yeah. And if you look at Greece, Italy, and other countries, like in Greece, we had bread, pasta, and potatoes pretty much every single night. So the question is, how come our weight we didn't have a weight problem or a health problem? Yeah. Because don't they say carbs are bad? Well, how come carbs were not bad there? Yes, one reason is because the carbs back then was much better than the carbs today. There is some truth to that. But the biggest one, we ate less often. So when you eat less often, your body can tolerate pasta, bread, and potatoes and all the other good stuff that people like. Yeah. So that's why, to me, at night, I have bread, pasta, potatoes pretty much every night, and it doesn't affect me because I've prolonged periods without food. And like I said, I will never go back. And again, weekends, I do whatever I want.
Yeah. That's really good. There's a lot for the information that you've shared. There's a lot that people can just grab hold of and start to implement already, which is what we like. Otherwise, we don't take action if we feel overwhelmed. So that's really good. We've got to wrap our discussion up for today. But what would be? So we'll put a link to your website for people that think, right, I really need help with this. I want to get a coach. I want to get somebody that's going to kind of hold me accountable, keep me through the process step by step to make sure that I do that. I know that's one of the services that you offer. Is it best for them to sort of just reach out and find out more? What would be their first step?
The best way is to reach out my website, which is liveyourwaythin.com. And there you'll find all my services, which I offer online, a lot of online services, including a new one that's coming out this week, which is called A Fit You for Life. And it's a subscription-based program that takes you step by step, because you said it perfectly. It's like all the information in the world, not going to make any difference unless you can apply it. Yeah. So all my programs, my online, including the subscription one, it takes you step by step through all these habits and how to make them habitual and part of your life. So eventually you're following them without having to think. That's the key, by the way, is to follow them without having to actively thinking about them. So this way you can enjoy life. So they can find all the information. They can contact me through the website if they have any questions. And I also do offer free fitness consultations with absolute no obligation to join for anybody who wants to talk to me directly before they do anything.
Perfect. That's really good. Yeah, no, it's really good. So there's no excuse for people listening. Like, think about it. Wouldn't it be really good to live healthy in a way that you feel you've got more energy, you've got more time, and it's not a big burden to do? You can still run your business, you can still spend time with your family and everything else that you want to do. And you've ticked the box of, yeah, I'm investing in my long-term health by adopting and developing good exercise, a good eating routine as well, and a good approach to how we eat stuff as well. I think there isn't a wrong answer to anything that you shared on that, other than, I suppose, the will to put it into practice, isn't it? That's the first step, that you need to be motivated enough to want to make a change. And for everyone listening, just take a step towards that, take a step in that direction, and then see, yeah, I think I do want to do another step. Because it really is, once you've taken the first step, the second step's so much easier. If you try and think through 7 or 8 steps, you're not going to do it. You're going to put yourself off. We only need to take the next step to get us moving in the direction that we want to go. And what Stavros has shared, and the offer on his website, and the free consultation as well, is a good first step to at least explore how you can get it working for you. It's going to look different for every individual to some extent, because we like doing different things. There's different body types, different preferences of food and all that. So you find out what works for you, and it's best to chat to Stavros, and a professional knows what he's talking about. It will make it a lot easier. But if you don't do any of that to start with, put one thing that Stavros has shared into your routine now, even if it's starting to space out your meals, see how you get on without, actually, I can go a little bit longer than what I thought. Don't have to regularly eat the same time every day. Anything like that is a practical step that gets you going in the right direction. It's got to be positive. If you get more energy and more time to work on your business, to work with your family, whatever you want to do, take up a new hobby and all the rest of it. Be an ambassador for good health for your friends and family as well. Lots of positives to it. So definitely worth taking action. Thank you, Stavros, for your time, for your insight. It'd be good to have you back again to dig into that even more at some point. I think
we'll talk about the 5th habit.
Yes. We'll keep that as a cliffhanger for people. No, it sounds good. Thank you again for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And for everybody that's joined us, thank you for joining us. Make sure you put something into action, and we will catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to Yeukai Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.yeukai.businessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18, or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.